Start right here with your rifle and pistol holstered. You're going to get a hit on the rifle target downrange and then place your rifle safely on this table. You're just going to throw this kettlebell over the stick without knocking the stick off. Knocking the stick off will be a penalty. You're going to run over to this table, draw your pistol, and neutralize one pistol target. Pistol goes on the table. Then, kettlebell goes back over the stick. Back over here. Rifle. One hit on the rifle target. You're going to go back and forth, throwing the kettlebell each time until you've neutralized all the pistol targets. And once again, 90 seconds to complete this.
Yeah, go.
And I was going to bring my...
Yeah, happy been, dude.
Good. Today. I'm not wearing armor today.
This kettlebell thing is difficult.
It happens.
The 62-pound one is a mistake.
Karl. That optic.
Yeah, on stage 4 you did the pistol, you did the targets. Carry the gun, do a circle, and then like engage the targets. And then... Oh, I'm going. Did you go last year? No, I wasn't. Wasn't even in the state.
I was thinking about getting an arc.
Neither was.
Not the gun, sorry.
No, I do like the strategy of engaging. I do like the strategy of engaging the front here.
No matter when you go in rotation, I'm going to make fun of you.
Fair enough.
Knocked over, Karl. Come on.
Oh. Failed solid. So, one might call that stage run a failure. I parred out and left one pistol target standing and one rifle target standing, but I'm not going to call it a failure. You know why I'm not going to call it a failure? Because VZ 52-57 mags are really hard to find, and they're sort of rare, and I had one that was a rusted piece of junk that did not work, that I spent a day, well not a day, an hour actually grinding on with a Dremel and then pouring Croil all over to see if I could get it working because I wanted more mags for Red October, and I decided why not, as we were saying today, find out if this is going to work or not. So I went ahead and used a 90-second part-time stage with that rusty ass mag, and guess what? It ran. It has this X on it, which is don't use, and now it is use. So I now have an extra 10-round mag, so parred out, but I don't care. I have an extra VZ52 mag.
Right.
That's a victory. How about you?
My stage strategy, I would have changed my order on the pistol targets in retrospect.
Okay.
Because I went to the furthest ones first, the logic being I'm going to be more rested and not winded when I'm shooting them.
More accurate due to not having a
Right.
cardio exposure.
Right.
Okay.
I should have done it the reverse. I actually felt like I settled in the further into the stage I got, and my hits improved, not necessarily because of distance of the targets, but because I felt like I was wobbling less as I got into the stage. So
Interesting.
sometimes with local matches like this, I'll try different orders to see what works out, and this is the place to do it. At a major, I would shoot more conservatively on that portion and go nearest to far.
I would agree. That makes
But
sense.
you know, I don't think the rifle made much of a difference either way on the stage. The target's pretty close, pretty big, and the contrast on this one was good.
I would say that it took longer for me to get a sight picture because of the sights. If you've never shot a VZ52, 57, you're thinking it has standard AK sights. It does not. The rear sight is actually a very shallow U-notch on the front post. So you actually have, it's quite difficult to acquire a fast sight picture. Once you acquire the sight picture, it's fine, but it's hard to acquire it. So I was quite a bit slower on getting on target just because I needed to make sure I had the sights in alignment. And so the VZ52 sights are not doing me a favor. Although the Tokarev, the T33, I wasn't really having a hard time with the pistol targets.
No, your engagement on those was better than the previous pistol-only stage.
It was. I think I'm getting used to the gun a little bit. So, I mean, other than that, I think what we're getting here is we're testing out our gear for Red October. Now, I don't feel like my performance here with this gun is problematic because at Red October, I'm going to be shooting a division called Com Block.
Right.
So at Red October, they have a bunch of divisions, Kalashnikov Light, Kalashnikov Heavy, Open, and then Com Block. And Com Block's like a catch-all for any Soviet thing, or Soviet junk, depending on how you think about it, that doesn't fit into those other divisions. And that's not going to leave a lot of openings. It's going to be what, SKS's, maybe a VZ5257, because I'm probably the only weirdo that's going to have one.
Right, and they removed Mosins because the caliber.
Right, that Red October restricts the cartridges to 7.62 by 39 or less. So what else will show up at Com Block? God, I don't know. Probably a bunch of SKSs, because VZ58s got moved into standard Kalashnikov because they turned out to be so equally competitive to a standard Kalashnikov. In fact, one might argue better, that they might as well keep them in Kalashnikov.
Right.
Even though they're functionally totally different.
You know, an interesting thing watching people shoot this stage is there's a lot of par outs on it.
Yeah, there are.
These 90-second par times actually push me to perform at a higher level on this, because you have to have the ultimate in efficiency on these stages to finish them under par time.
Ultimate in efficiency. I think I like that phrase. That's a good one.
So it's interesting. I have a friend here that I'm shooting against now in Armored, because we're kind of peer level shooters to track our performance. He's using an AR today.
Sure.
And he was only 2 seconds faster than me on this one.
Yeah, yeah, with your AK. And did you engage the safety on and off when you're putting it on the table?
No, because I watch other people with AKs not do that, so I cheated.
You didn't really need to, though. I mean, we don't require it, and you weren't moving with the gun. You were just benching it.
Right.
So I don't think that's much of a concern. That aftermarket AK part you have on there is actually a Russian one, I believe.
Which one is that?
This right here, the safety. Because the Krebs ones are a little different. Interesting. Anyway, so it's an interesting stage. I agree with you. A 90-second par time, which is actually a very difficult thing to achieve. I mean, you finished it at 86.
Right.
You left 4 seconds on the table, and I had 2 targets left, and a lot of people are parring out. Those types of short par times are really mentally fatiguing, not necessarily physically fatiguing, because everything that goes wrong makes you think, oh, I'm gonna par out, I'm gonna par out.
Right, everything has to go smooth, and if you get sucked into one thing being a problem too long, which I started thinking about when I was missing with the pistol initially.
Yeah, which you had more misses than usual, actually.
Right,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking about it, which also doesn't help performance. And then at the end, you know, it probably, those misses cost me about 6 to 8 seconds total on the stage. I had the luxury of extra ammo, but still, that's a pretty close par time, making mostly first round hits with the rifle and getting on the other 3 pistol targets pretty quick.
In regards to what I'm using, which is low capacity, weird stuff with bad sights, I can't waste rounds.
Right.
So I have to be very slow on my sight picture, and that slow sight picture acquisition means I want to make as many of those rounds hits versus misses as possible, and because I don't want to reload, and that also decelerates me to the point where that mental state of this is 90 seconds is something you almost go into it honestly not defeated, but realizing this is a high likelihood I'm not going to make it through this stage without parring out.
Yeah, I think making the hits on the first round is even more important in your position.
It is. So it's an interesting thing. One thing you can do with any of your training at home, you don't have to be in a match, is set yourself up hard times like that, or that are impossible or nearly impossible, because the physiological and mental stress that's occurred by that really is a skill building exercise. So we've got one more stage left with the rifle. Stay tuned for our 3rd and final stage of our preparation for Red October.